Alright, I've been playing Frostgrave for a little bit, and it's by Osprey Games. And I kind of want to talk a little bit get a kind of review of the game, what I thought of it so far. So we're going to take a look at the cover here. And basically in this, there was a city that was very magical. Magical items were created there. And then somehow some magical powers got released that created a blizzard that buried the city in the snow for a long, like for centuries probably. And it's kind of gone into myth that it was actually there. Well, the thaw started happening and the city's now being exposed. So you're taking your wizard and possibly an apprentice and some other like mercenaries and adventuring through the city, trying to collect those magical treasures that can be found now. However, enemy wizards are also in that city trying to collect that treasure for themselves. So it's kind of a skirmish game, but it's not so much I'm going to try to take you out. It's I'm going to try to take some of you guys out, hinder you while I'm getting this treasure and then I'm getting out of here. And I kind of like that. Another thing is your wizard as you play can get experience in the game and get better and get more spells. Maybe the spells will be easier to cast and so forth. I like that in the game also. So what you got is you got a wizard, and you'll create a wizard, and there's 10 different magical schools that you can choose from. Like this is time, and it has to do with elements, enchanter, that's creating things, illusionist, so forth. Now, you will choose one of these, and let me go to one of them here. So here we go with like the Soothsayer down here at the bottom. So you're going to choose 3 spells from Soothsayers Spell list, and I'll get to those in just a minute. But each class has 8 spells to choose from. So Soothsayer has 8 spells. What 3 do you want to start with? Then from these 3 schools, you choose 1 from this one from Chronomancer, and 1 from Illusionist. Then you have these 5 schools, and you can choose 2 spells. So you can choose an Enchanter spell and a Necromancer spell, or a Summoner spell, Elemental spell, or a Necromancer and a Summoner spell, so forth. You can choose 2 spells, but they have to be from different schools, so you can't choose 2 Elementalist spells. And when you start out, you can't do any Witch spells. So that's pretty much, you start with what class you want to start with, which is back here. And it tells you which spells you can choose from. All wizards start with the same stats, so let me get to that. So you're going to start with that, and this is like how far they can move, bonus to fight, shooting, armor, like a will save throw, and then how much damage they can take. Everybody's wizard starts that, but as you adventure and get experience, this stuff can change. Then you can grab, and I would suggest grabbing an apprentice if you want to, and then he starts with his, as you increase in your ability, he's also going to increase in his ability. He also has the same spells you have. So you can kind of like do a double casting. You don't have to take a apprentice in this game, but from what I've seen, it's very much suggested you do take one. And after playing it, I see how an apprentice is very helpful. Then you hire mercenaries, and from what I've read is there's a bunch of expansions for this game, a bunch of what I'd say adventures. So you go in as adventure, and it's kind of like a campaign. Like one of them is against a lich. So you're going through this adventure trying to get to the lich. So maybe you play one adventure here, but also the other people are against you, the other wizards. And then you go through the next scenario, and the other wizard's against you. I don't want to read ahead, but that's kind of what happened. When you get to the final lich, from what I heard, when you get to him, you are working together to take the lich out, but you're still kind of working against each other. But as you go through that adventure, your wizard is going to improve, and so will your apprentice. Now, your wizard can be killed in this game. That means you're going to have to start over. Your apprentice can be killed. These guys never improve. You just hire them. If they survive, I guess you don't have to pay money for them again, but if they get killed or injured and you have to replace them, then you're going to have to buy some more with the money you collected. So that's less resources to buy magical equipment or something like that. So I like that in the game. Basically, in the game, you have 2 actions for each figure. So it's done in phases. So the first phase is the wizard phase. So you roll initiative at the start of each turn. Whoever gets the highest gets to activate their wizard first, and if there's any of those mercenaries, up to 3 mercenaries within 3 inches of them, they also get to activate. And you get 2 actions. One of those actions, though, have to be move. Now, it doesn't have to be the first action they do is move. But if you're going to do something, a second thing with them, like your wizard wants to cast a spell, if he wants to do a second thing, it has to be a move. So that's the rule there. So you do your wizard, cast your spells, your mercenaries that are around him, up to those 3 mercenaries move and do whatever they're going to do. Then it goes to the next player who got the highest initiative. They do a wizard and then the next player. Then it comes back to you. Now we're in the apprentice phase. This is why your apprentice is important, because now you get to activate him, and he has the same spells and stuff like that as your wizard. Not as good as your wizard, though. And the same thing. He gets to activate, and if there's 3 mercenaries around him, they get to activate. And again, the same rule. If you're going to do a second action, it has to be a move. Now, it could be you do a move. You could move, then attack. But one of those actions, if you do 2 of them, one of them has to be a move. So then it goes, I'm done. The next player goes. Then we go to the soldier phase. And those are those guys you've hired that's not around your wizard or apprentice. They get to activate now. So you activate your soldiers, they do it, then the next opponent does it. Then you go to creature phase, which there may be animals or zombies or skeletons or something that comes out through the adventure. The adventure will tell you whether these things appear. And that's pretty much what you do. Combat is done with, you just need a d20. And what you do is you roll and add your modifiers. They roll and add their modifiers. So let's say you got a +4 and they got a +4. So this has got 10 and this got 9. This one, and if they're melee, you just take that away. You take their total minus the target's armor. That's how much damage they do. This took me a little bit I kept wanting to subtract these 2 numbers, then apply the armor. So let's go back to our mercenaries here. And if we look, 10. So let's say I'm attacking this warhound, and it's got a fight +1, and I've got a fight +4, like my wizard or something like that. So I'm rolling. So this is what we've got. Yes, I'm keeping the 20 for myself. I didn't call which one, but it's going to me. So 15 plus the 1. Now there may be some other modifiers involved, but we'll just keep it for this. So that's 16. I have a 20 plus 4 is 24. I beat his, so just take that off. Ignore it now, it's gone. You look at what your total was. Now some weapons may be added to it, but I've got a 24. They subtract their armor from that 24 is 14. They take that much damage. That's more than the dog can take. The dog's taken out of the game. Now you could roll really low. Let's say you roll a 7 plus 4 is 11, and they roll a 1 or something like that, and they only got a 2. Don't count 2. It's gone. You're just trying to find out which roll got the higher number. Now that you got the higher number, what is its total? Well, that's 11. Take away its armor, 10. That's 1. It's going to take 1 damage. And that's how you do combat in this game. Pretty simple. It took a little bit for me to get around that. You don't subtract. You just take away the lower die. What's the total? Subtract the armor. That's how many hit points they take. Now, the thing I want to get to is, I've talked about that you can move and all. I talked about how combat works. Now, what I really want, if I can speak, what I really want to get to, there are some magic items and stuff in here. And creatures, there's a bestiary in here like this. The only thing I don't like about this is it's not alphabetical. It's by category. So here's undead, and it's at the very beginning. U, the letter, it's undead at the very beginning. This is one thing I do not like about this. See, now we go to animals, which is A. And constructs, demons. See, now they're actually kind of going in order, but undead first. But I guess you run into more undead than anything. And then miscellaneous creatures and so forth. Now here's the spells. So I'm going to, these are online for free at the resources page for Frostgrave. So you can get these, download them, so you can print them out. But this is the Chronomancer. And I'm not going to go over exactly how all the spells work, but it gives you a description of what the spells do. It tells you the school, the casting roll, and do you need line of sight or not? All these need line of sight. This is self only, so this can only be cast on your wizard, or if your apprentice has it, they can cast it on themselves. What this number means is that's what you need to roll on a d20 or higher to get that spell to work. So if my Chronomancer wants a spell to cast this, I got a 2, not successful. And actually I could take damage by rolling low. I could take like 1 or 2 points of damage because I felt so bad at casting that spell. But I'm not going to go into that in here. But say I really, really, really need that spell to go off. What I can do is, there's an 8 difference because 10 minus 2 is 8. I can take 8 hit points of damage to my wizard and cast that spell. So if you really need that spell off, you can do that. So let's see here. An 11, it's gone off. No damage to me. It's cast, it's going, so forth. And 11, a 20, and so forth. Now that's how that works. Now let's go back to, I think I want to go back to, was it Soothsayer? Well, the Soothsayer here. Now, if we look at the Soothsayer, it has this number +2, +4, +6. So let's say the Soothsayer wants to cast this Crumble, which is a 10, but it's a Chronomancer spell. So if we look at Soothsayer with Chronomancer, there it is. It's in this line. It's a line spell. It's 2, +2. That means this number is now a 12 to cast the spell because it's not in that wizard's school. It's close to his school. It's not like the witch spells, which are totally opposite. So it's 2 harder. So it's a 12 to cast a spell. And I got a 9. If I really want to cast a spell, I can take 3 points of damage and that spell will go off. Otherwise, just... And again, if you fell really bad, you could take damage to your wizard. And so each class has 8 spells to choose from. And remember, you're going to choose at least one of these spells. Well, no, I shouldn't say at least. You're going to get most of these classes. Let me try this again. You're going to get probably one choice from here, one choice from here, and so forth, depending upon what class you chose. And so that's pretty much it. And you run around, and a lot of times there's turn limits, like 6 turn. You want to have everybody that's got treasure, you want them off the table. If they don't get off the table, then you don't get the treasure. So it's not, I'm just going to keep pounding you, and try to take your people out, and then I'm going to win the game. Normally not. You're going to hit them and maybe slow them down or try to pull a treasure or teleport or something like that, or put a wall of fog up so they can't shoot your guys and try to get your treasure off. But also you can fireball them, and try to do some damage that way. So I'm really enjoying this game. I like the kind of RPG aspect of you're going through this adventure, and then it's kind of like one of them's actually a dungeon crawl, but you're going against each other in this dungeon, trying to collect treasure, and there's an ultimate goal at the end, like that one was the Lich. So I really like the idea in this. The combat system's really, really simple. Once you get your head around, you just take away the lower total. Whatever the total is here, subtract the armor. That's how many hit points damage they take. So I'm going to play this some more. I've got some miniatures coming in that I'm going to do an unboxing of that I'm going to use for Frostgrave, because they don't really have minis for this game. I guess North Star makes minis for them. But if you've got D&D minis or your Warhammer Fantasy or something like that, you can probably use those and just go into the game and play. So I really suggest take a look at Frostgrave, especially if you like RPGs or you want somehow your guys to get experience as you're playing the game, and your wizard's going to get better, because it seems like it's a pretty neat little game.